Welcome to Left Off the Map for another very special episode as we continue our food crawl through the Huon region of Tasmania with Francis Bender. Today we're heading to an award-winning winery called Home Hill. So I thought I'd do a dish that involves wine. Normally beef bourguignon uses red wine, but coming into summer we're going to pair it or use white wine and pair it with white wine. You can still have stews and still have hearty dishes during summer. There are a few little tweaks that you have to make, and one of them is changing up the type of wine that you use. So let's get into it. This is a simple one-pot wonder, but there's so much flavour in it. First, shallots. These were big shallots, so I've cut them in half. Keep the root tip on, or the stem tip on, to hold the shallot together. I'm going to put them in basically whole. I'm going to cut that one because it's a bit big as well. And I'm happy for them to go in like that. So I've got a big pot with a lid, a little bit of oil in our pot. And I'm going to gently saute off these shallots, some bacon lardons here. They can go in. About 4 rushes of bacon cut into lardons. My shallots. My garlic, I've got 3 cloves of garlic that I am going to just cut in half. So I'm not going to slice these. Because we're cooking for such a long time, you can put all these things in quite chunky and they'll soften, become nice and sweet, really tender as we cook away. I'm going to let that get started. Now, with any long-cooked, slow-cooked stew type dish, so much of the flavour and the dish itself is built in the beginning. So you want to gently saute this as much as you can to extract as much flavour out of the ingredients that you've got in there. Next, my mushrooms. I'm just going to chop these in half. Then my carrot. And then we'll be right to put our meat in and start browning that with all the other ingredients. The only thing that's going to be left for the last half an hour are the potatoes, because I don't want them to fall apart. Mushrooms in. Carrot. I can chop this fairly chunky as well. Again, these pieces will become nice and tender and really sweet. I'll take on all the flavours of the dish. So it's almost like a coq au vin, but without the chicken part. So coq au vin means chicken in wine, and you usually use a white wine for that. So we're doing a very similar thing with white wine, but pairing it with the red meat. So I'll let that get going. Once that's got a little bit of colour and it's started to reduce in size as we dry out the ingredients, then I'll put my beef in. So about 5 to 10 minutes of it simmering away like that. In my pot, I've added my white wine and reduced that down by about half and added my herbs. So I had thyme, bay leaf and rosemary. So that's all gone in, it's reduced down by half. The last thing I need now is my stock. So I just want to cover the meat with some stock. Pop that in, just till the meat's covered. And then I'll bring that back to the boil on the gas. Once it comes to the boil, I'm going to put the lid on it and pop it into an oven at 180 degrees for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. Check on it. The lid being on top means that it probably won't lose too much moisture, but just check on it every half an hour and see if it needs a little bit of a top up of stock. After that 1 hour and 45, I'm going to bring it out and finish it on the stovetop for another 20, 25 minutes with my potatoes going in. I want to reduce it down so we start to get a bit of a sauce form and the potatoes become tender. So bring this to the boil, lid on, and then into our oven. You can already tell the difference in the way that looks between the white wine and the red wine and how much lighter and fresher it is with that white wine being in there. It smells very different as well. It doesn't have that deep wintry smell about it. This is a lighter sort of slow cooked dish. So using that white wine really does change it and really does work. The last thing I've got to do now is cut my potatoes up just into bite-sized pieces. I probably only need 3 small potatoes. Cut those and they'll be the last thing to go in. Remember you might need to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, but I doubt it. With that stock in there should be enough seasoning, but just check that as well. So cut these, it'll finish off on the hob so we can reduce it down with the lid off, with the potatoes in, so that it all comes together. So now we'll head off to Home Hill Winery with Francis and talk about their award-winning wines and the actual winery itself. It's a beautiful location. So many events, weddings and things like that have been held at the winery. It's won awards for how well it's kept, but also awards for the quality of the wine. So Home Hill, I've been here a few times and I'm always stunned at how beautiful it looks. They've obviously won lots of awards, Jimmy Watson being sort of the premium one.
Absolutely.
This is in your wheelhouse. Do you come here a lot?
Yes, this is literally only a few kilometres away from where we live.
Yep.
And we've had a long relationship with Home Hill, known the family obviously for years, and been to many, many functions here and come up here with girlfriends for lunch.
Yep.
And really like all their wines. I've known Terry and Rosemary for years, and Rosemary actually has been instrumental and the driving force behind the Taste of the Huon festival that we have down here every year in March in the long weekend, and they've had our product proudly named on their menu as well, which is really important for people when they're wanting to come down and actually eat food that's regional,
From the region,
so they actually know that it's Huon salmon from the Huon at Home Hill, which is based in the Huon.
So a lot of people pair salmon in particularly with wine. They're kind of things that go together for a late lunch, or if you're having dinner that night during summer, you're going to have a cool sort of a rosé or maybe a sparkling like this. Do you drink well, it sounds bad if I say do you drink a lot of wine, but do you drink a lot of paired food with wine?
Because salmon is an oily fish, it just works really well with wine or cider because it just cuts through that that oil and it just leaves a really nice mouth taste.
Yep.
Yeah.
The acidity of a white wine and particularly a cider, where it's a cleaner acid line through it rather than the astringency that you get from the sparkling sometimes, is perfect for the fat content and the luxurious mouthfeel you get from a really good piece of salmon.
That's right.
So I think they marry really well. Like you said before, I think with Tasmanian Pinot Noirs, the complexity that you get from a Pinot Noir is similar to what you would get in a South Australian heavy red.
Yes.
But it doesn't have the heaviness
It doesn't have the heaviness. And if you've got a really nice fresh piece of salmon and, you know, just really cooked sort of medium rare, there's nothing better.
Yeah. And you've got a new flavoured portion pack coming out. So there's a lemon, herb and crumb, which I think would be fantastic with this. Do you agree?
I think it would be too, actually. Yeah, I think it'd just work really nicely.
And you've got another one coming out as well?
Chili, garlic and lime.
Yep.
And I think the Silvana, because that's just got that smooth to sort of counterbalance the lime. Yeah. I love lime.
Yeah.
But I just think that would work really well. But this would be great with the lemon herb crumb.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. The herbiness of that crumb would go great with that. the lime, that is a bit of a citrus drink.
Yes.
But also the acid in that with the chili would be a great combination.
Cut the chili a little bit.
To calm it down.
Yeah.
So I think you've got there's a really good variety here to go with a great variety that you produce.
Absolutely.
You guys should do some sort of match.
Yes, we should.
Matchmaking.
Yeah, we should follow that up actually because I'm always up for matching wines with food.
Yeah, you give people a real taste of the Huon.
That's right, absolutely.
Yeah. The best salmon in the world.
The best salmon
and the best wine in the world.
And some of the best wine in Australia. Like, you know, this vineyard has won the Jimmy Watson Trophy.
Yeah.
And is in their Pinot has just been named in James Halliday's in the top 25 wines of all time for him. Like, and he's the guru.
And that's that one, isn't it?
I think that's that one there. So, you know, like, how awesome's that?
Yeah.
So we're sitting here at Home Hill, where they've won the Jimmy Watson Trophy. We started off at Willie Smith's, where they won the best cider, gold medal for the best cider in the world, all within a few kilometres of each other.
Overachievers, aren't you?
We are
All these people down here
overachievers.
in
And then
Huon.
we've got the best salmon in the world just down the river a little bit further.
Massive
So
overachievers.
it's pretty impressive, really.
That is very impressive.
Yeah,
You
you don't find many regions where you've got that. No.
Per capita, that's a lot of awards in a very dense location.
It is,
I think that's the
absolutely.
reason why more people are travelling down here now.
Yes.
Because you can drive 10 minutes, pull over, have another fantastic experience.
That's right.
Drive another 10 minutes, pull over, have another fantastic experience.
And what's really interesting too is we've got these types of venues, but interestingly enough, we're surrounded by World Heritage, by the biggest area of World Heritage.
Well, it is. I mean, absolute overachievers, I think. And like I said before, if you said to people, where does the best salmon in the world, best wine in the world, best cider in the world come from? And you could go and visit it and they'd
In
be
one
10
day.
minutes away from each other.
I know.
Yeah, people would take that absolutely every single time.
That's right. When I've travelled internationally and I know I've travelled to most countries in the world and all the salmon growing countries, which are beautiful and remote, but you don't get that. You don't get what we have here.
Yeah.
You don't get that pairing. You don't get that mixing of all the different elements that make up a beautiful meal.
Yeah.
You might get one element, but you won't get the rest. So we are so spoilt here, and I don't think Tasmanians really grasp what we have in our own backyard.
Yeah, it's true. Well, this was fantastic. I want to try that before we go because if
yes.
that's in the top 25 from Halliday,
I'm not leaving until we try this.
Right, very good. But next we're heading off to one of your favourite little cafes.
Yes,
Cinnamon and Cherry.
Cinnamon and Cherry down at Franklin, which is on the banks of the Huon River. So we're just gradually heading south all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll stop in there and see what they've got to offer. I've heard good things.
Yes. Yeah. Lovely little cafe.
Cool. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, it's a beautiful vineyard with a fantastic array of wines, and we're into our second leg of that little food crawl. I know what's coming next and we're going to get very, very full. But today is Taco Tuesday. So we're going to do our taco component of Taco Tuesday. We're going to show you how to make a shredded chicken taco. So I'm going to poach some chicken so it's nice and healthy. So in a pot, I need some stock, about 500 mils. Just enough to cover your chicken. Then you need to get a taco sauce, depending on your heat love, mild, medium, hot, it's up to you. This is a mild one, pop that in. And then pick your favourite Old El Paso spice mix. Now this is a new one, it's the nacho one, but it's got a fantastic base of flavours and all the flavours that I want to go with my chicken. So I'm going to put about a third of the packet in. Then my chicken can go in. So we're going to give about half an hour and then we'll come back and check on our chicken. This recipe really is about the chicken and the way in which we're cooking the chicken. So that's been in there for about half an hour. Just check, yeah, it's nice and tender. So I can take our chicken breast out and then just get 2 forks and shred our chicken apart. You want to run the same way as the protein runs, so with the protein grain. So you can see that the protein's running that way, so don't shred it that way. All right, there's 1 breast done. So you can see how much chicken you end up with from a breast. There's quite a bit. Shred again. So you're just running like that along the grain of the chicken. And then what we want to do, this chicken is going to go back into our pot. You can see the amount of liquid after half an hour that's in there has reduced by about half. So that, I reckon, is 15 minutes away. Then we'll fold our chicken in and I'll show you the end product. And then I'm going to put together a taco, a big taco, using my cos lettuce and my avocado. It's so versatile. If you've got the flour tortillas, you can make 3 or 4 different things with it. My chicken's been cooking for another 15 minutes and it's only a couple of minutes away from being the consistency that I need it to be. I want to taste it and see if it needs any salt or not. No, it doesn't. Perfect. Don't have to worry about salt. So just going to get my accompaniments ready. Some cos lettuce leaves, which we'll trim up. And then just to make them a little easier to manage, just cut them down the middle. Like that. So I've got my cos lettuce base of my taco, avocado, just want some strips of avocado. Now I've chosen chicken and cos because they're my favourite things. But you can put on there whatever you want to put on there. Cheese would go well with it. See if it's really close to how I want it to be. I could probably reckon if I turn that off, the remaining heat in there will get that down to the consistency that I want. Grab a little bit of that and place it along my taco. Now I'll show you the consistency that I'm sort of looking for in this chicken. So you want all of the sauce to basically, for it not to be pooling. So there shouldn't be any little pools of the sauce left in what you're making. It should all be sticking to the chicken. So that kind of consistency is what I'm after, where the sauce is all stuck to the chicken. So I'm really happy with that. You can see there's still quite a bit of steam coming out of there. That steam is moisture, so there's still moisture coming off it. So it's going to come together a bit better and stick to that chicken sort of as it cools a little bit more. So just give that 30 seconds to cool for that steam to come off. Then my chicken will go on top and that will be my shredded chicken taco. Okay. We'll add our chicken on top. And that is my shredded chicken taco for Taco Tuesday. It's a big taco. You can get the little mini tortillas if you want to have smaller ones, but that's a big hearty taco. You can finish with a little bit of coriander on top, a little bit of cheese on top. It will go quite nicely with cheese. But for something as soon as you get home from work to put that chicken on, it takes half an hour for it to end up like that, so full of flavour by just adding a couple of little things. You will use this recipe over and over and over again. Well, that's it for Taco Tuesday. I hope you had fun. I know I did, and we'll see you next time.